The following is a class on the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Chapter number 3, text number 37. Given by His Grace, Shriman Sankarshan Das Adhikari. Recorded on May 18th, 2010, in Sofia, Bulgaria.
So, tonight we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 3, text number 37. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajaguna Samudbhavaha Mahashana Mahapapma Vidyenam Mihivairinam Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajaguna Samudbhavaha Mahashano Mahapapma Vidyenam Mihavarinam. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "It is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion, and later transformed into wrath, which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world." Therefore, when a living entity comes in contact with the material creation, his eternal love for Krishna is transformed into lust in association with the mode of passion. Or in other words, the sense of love of God becomes transformed into lust as milk in contact with sour tamarind is transformed into yogurt. Then again, when lust is unsatisfied, it turns into wrath. Wrath is transformed into illusion, and illusion continues the material existence. Therefore, lust is the greatest enemy of the living entity. And it is lust only which induces the pure living entity to remain entangled in the material world. Wrath is the manifestation of the mode of ignorance. These modes exhibit themselves as wrath and other corollaries. If therefore the mode of passion, instead of being degraded into the mode of ignorance, is elevated to the mode of goodness by the prescribed method of living and acting, then one can be saved from the degradation of wrath by spiritual attachment. The Supreme Personality of God had expanded Himself into many for His ever-increasing spiritual bliss. And the living entities are parts and parcels of this spiritual bliss. They also have partial independence, but by misuse of their independence, when the service attitude is transformed into propensity for sense enjoyment, they come under the sway of lust. This material creation is created by the Lord to give facility to the conditioned souls to fulfill these lustful propensities. And when completely baffled by prolonged lustful activities, the living entities begin to inquire about their real position. This inquiry is the beginning of the Vedanta Sutras, wherein it is said, Tato Brahma Jigyasa. One should inquire into the Supreme. And the Supreme is defined in Srimad Bhagavatam as Janmadasha Yaton Vajad Yataratascha, or the origin of everything is the Supreme Brahman. And therefore, the origin of lust is also in the Supreme. If therefore, lust is transformed into love for the Supreme, or transformed into Krishna consciousness, or in other words, desiring everything for Krishna, then both lust and wrath can be spiritualized. Hanuman, the great servitor of Lord Ram, exhibited his wrath by burning the golden city of Ravana. But by doing so, he became the greatest devotee of the Lord. Here also in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord induces Arjuna to engage his wrath upon his enemies for the satisfaction of the Lord. Therefore, lust and wrath, when they are employed in Krishna consciousness, become our friends instead of our enemies. Shri Guru Shri Jatan Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Ravadutam Varijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha. So, there's really no reason to be miserable. When you have this science here, this science tells us how we became miserable. And it tells how to reverse it and go back to where you began. This is called a complete science. Not only does it describe how we fell from pure bliss into this realm of misery, but how to get back to where we once belonged. To the simple process of taking this lust, this selfishness, and aiming it towards Krishna's senses instead of our senses. Instead of being lusty to satisfy our own senses, we should become lusty to satisfy the senses of Krishna. This is the perfection of the gopis, you see. Their lust was not material, it was purely spiritual.
Тяхната поход не е била материална, а напълно духовна.
They simply had the lust to please Krishna, that's all.
Те са имали поход желание да удовлетворят Кришна.
The other day, in my Thought for the Day email broadcast, I stated that one should take one's selfishness and aim it towards Krishna.
Ония ден в моя курс за себереализация по интернет, аз отговорих на един имейл, че човек трябва да насочи...
So, one of my readers, an MD in India, a doctor in India, he said, Guruji, I think you have made a mistake. I think you meant selflessness.
И един от моите читатели, той е доктор в Индия, каза, Guruji, аз мисля, че ти си направи грешка.
I think you have made a typo in your Thought for the Day when you said, aim your selfishness towards Krishna. You must have meant selflessness.
Ти сигурно, когато си написал, насочи своята себичност към Кришна, сигурно си има предвид на своята безсебичност.
So today I answered him back. I said, no, it wasn't a mistake.
Днес аз му отговорих, не, това не бе грешка.
And it's confirmed right here in Prabhupada's purport, you see.
И тук в пояснението на Прабхупад се обяснява.
Selfishness, that is love, you see.
Себичността, това е поход.
And selflessness, that is pure bhakti, that is love.
Безсебичността, това е чисто бхакти, това е любов.
So when pure selflessness comes in contact with the material mode of passion,
и когато чистата безсебичност влезе в контакт с вълната на страстта,
it is transformed into selfishness or lust.
Тя се трансформира в себичност, в поход.
And when that selfishness or lust is not satisfied, then it turns into madness, insanity.
И когато тази себично тази поход не се задоволи, тя се превръща в лудост.
So how does one then channel one's selfishness towards Krishna?
И как човек канализира своята себичност към Кришна?
How could you possibly be selfish when you approach Krishna?
Как можете да бъдете себични, когато се обърнете към Кришна?
It doesn't sound right, does it? To channel your selfishness towards Krishna.
Това не звучи правилно, да насочиш себичността си към Кришна.
But yet it is correct, because Prabhupada explains this.
И все пак това е правилно, защото Прабхупад обяснява.
He says it is in the highest self-interest of the living entity to become Krishna conscious.
Той каза, най-висшия личен интерес на живото същество е да се насочи към Кришна.
So this is called pure selfishness.
Това е чиста себичност.
I want the greatest benefit. Everybody wants the greatest benefit for themselves. That is a fact.
Факт е, че всеки желае най-доброто за себе си.
So we don't deny that.
Това не го отричаме.
We say yes. You should go for that thing which brings the greatest benefit to you.
Ние казваме, да, ти трябва да постигнеш това, което ти дава най-голяма полза.
And that is to revive your lost relationship with Krishna.
И това е да възстановиш твоята загубена връзка с Кришна.
What is the selfish interest of the hand?
Какъв е себичният интерес на ръката?
To squash the food in the fingers.
Да смачка храната в пръстите си.
There's no benefit.
Няма полза от това.
Even you take some ice cream, you can't enjoy it with your fingers.
Дори ако вземете сладолед, не може да се наслаждавате с пръстите си.
Homemade organic strawberry ice cream from protected cows offered to the deities.
Сладолед предложен от чисто мляко от кравите, предложен на мутите.
You can't enjoy it in your hand.
Не може да му се наслаждавате в ръката.
The only way the hand will get the enjoyment is when it feeds the mouth.
И Единственият начин, по който ръката може да получи удовлетворение, е да сложи храната в устата.
So be selfish.
Така че бъдете себични.
Do that which is most beneficial for yourself, you see.
Правете това, което е най-благоприятно за вас самите.
Serve the Supreme Person,
Служете на Върховния Бог.
the root of the entire creation.
Корен на цялото творение.
And this is the perfection of selfishness.
Това е съвършенството на себичността.
This is the perfection of lust.
Това е съвършенството на похота.
Because you want to enjoy, you want to relish pleasures.
Защото ви искате да се наслаждавате, ви искате удоволствие.
So know how to get it. That's all.
Трябва да знаете как да го получите.
They think by having sex they'll get the greatest pleasure, you see.
Мислите, че като правите секс ще имате най-висшето удоволствие.
My tune in Sanskrit. But what does Bhagavatam say?
Какво казва Бхагавата?
Yan matanadi grihmedi sukam hitu cham. That pleasure which is considered number one pleasure by the materialistic people. Playboy magazine, etc., etc., etc.
Това удоволствие, което материалистите считат за върховното удоволствие, Playboy и така нататък,
is experienced by transcendentalists as simply 10th class pleasure.
се възприема от един трансценденталист като десетокласно
Hitu cham, insignificant, that's all.
незначително.
What is the proof?
Къде е доказателството?
Haridas Thakur. What is the proof?
Къде е доказателството?
Haridas Thakur.
Харидас Такур.
And what is the second proof?
А второто доказателство?
You.
Вие.
When you dive deep into the names,
Когато се
you will forget all of the stupid so-called pleasure of the material existence.
Когато се гмурите дълбоко в името, ще забравите за това глупаво удоволствие.
Asinine, ashial happiness.
Това магарешко щастие.
You forget him.
Ще ги забравите.
You say, who needs that stupid nonsense?
Не се нуждаят тези глупости.
Pleasure of the tongue,
Удоволствие на езика.
pleasure of the genitals,
Удоволствие на гениталите.
pleasure of the false ego. I am great.
Удоволствие на оживото его. Аз съм велик.
Who needs it? It's garbage. It's simply rubbish.
Кой се нуждае от това? Това е просто попук.
Devotee is not impressed with that happiness.
Един праволаден не е впечатлен от това щастие.
He knows how temporary it is. You see.
Той знае колко е преходно това.
All the big successful people in history, where are they now?
Всички големи известни личности в
They
историята,
have vanished into oblivion.
те са потънали в забрава.
Where are the great Bulgarian leaders of the past, the founders of your Bulgarian culture? Where are they now?
Те са големите личности от българската история. които
Maybe
са-
some rat running around the streets of Sofia, you see.
Може би някой плъх на улица.
Or a cockroach in some hotel in downtown.
Или хлебарк в някой хотел.
Where is Napoleon?
Къде е Наполеон?
Where is Churchill?
Чърчил?
Where are these big men of this material world? Where are they now? Where is John Lennon?
Къде са тези велики личности в този материален свят? Къде е Джон Ленън?
They have simply disappeared, you see.
Те просто изчезнали.
Prabhupada said that actually he quoted, one of Prabhupada's godbrothers, quoted an astrologer who said that Nehru, the first prime minister of India, he has become a dog in Scandinavia.
Един от духовните брати на Шива Прабхупад цитира един астролог, който е казал за Неру.
He wasn't the only dog, he was one of two dogs of a Scandinavian gentleman.
Който казал, че Неру е станал куче в Скандинавия.
So what is the use of trying to squeeze pleasure out of this material life, you see?
Каква е ползата да изтискаме удоволствие в този материален свят?
There's nothing here. Panak panascharvata charvananam. There is no pleasure here.
Няма удоволствие. Това.
So why not go to the reservoir of unlimited pleasure?
Защо да отидем в резервуара на безгранично удоволствие?
You see? Why not go to that reservoir of unlimited pleasure?
Защо да не отидем в тази личност, която е резервуар на безкрайно щастие?
Where you can get unlimited bliss at every minute.
Където може да имаме неограничено удоволствие всяка минута.
Someone may say, well, doesn't Krishna consciousness get boring? I mean, how long are you people going to go on with this anyway, you know?
Някой може да каже, не е ли Кришна знае нещо отекчително, как въобще
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama. It's all you people ever do, you know. You've been going Hare Krishna for years. I mean, don't you get tired of it? Can't you switch to something else? They don't realize that the potency of Krishna's name, you see. They don't realize that Krishna and his name are one and the same. And that Krishna never gets old. He never becomes boring. He is Nava Yovanam. He's an ever-fresh youth. Just imagine, Kripasita, if you pick a flower and you smell that flower, and every time you smell it, it becomes more fragrant. In this material world, when we pick a flower, gradually it loses its fragrance. Even a gardenia, which is so fragrant. You've smelled the gardenia flower before, Kripasita? Gardenia? Oh, who has smelled a gardenia flower? I don't know what it's called in Bulgarian. Do you have that flower here? Oh, it's unbelievable. It's just like from the heavenly planets when you smell a gardenia. It's unbelievable. But even a gardenia, it loses its fragrance. It loses its beauty after a few days, you see. But just imagine a flower that you pick that flower, and the longer you hold it in your hand, the more beautiful it gets and the more fragrant it gets. For all of eternity. That flower becomes more fragrant, more beautiful for all of eternity. Now, then if you can understand that gives you some idea what is Krishna. And Krishna and his name are one and the same. That means that you can go on chanting Hare Krishna for 24 hours a day and never get tired. For millions and billions and trillions of years. Just imagine we said, okay, Prabhus and Manajis, now we're going to have a kirtan for 20 years. Let's get into it now. Let's dive into it. We're going to have a non-stop kirtan for 20 years. I guarantee you, that kirtan will get really sweet. It'll get really sweet. We're going to have a 20-year kirtan to push back to send Kali into retreat, you see. So the holy names have that power. You know what Prabhupada said in London? He told the manager, he said, let them have kirtan 24 hours.
Нека правят киртан 24 часа.
And then of course in Vrindavan, we have our 24-hour kirtan.
И в Вриндавана ние имаме 24 часа киртан.
And going on for many, many years now.
Който продължава много години.
So there's nothing sweeter than Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. You can take that tendency to want to enjoy and engage it in Krishna's service, and you will enjoy, I guarantee you.
Няма нищо по-сладко да стоянето на святото име. И аз ви гарантирам, че напълно ще задоволи вашата потребност за наслаждение.
Just as Krishna is the topmost enjoyer,
Както Кришна е върховният наслаждаващ се,
you will also become the topmost enjoyer.
Вие също ще станете върховният наслаждаващ се.
When people ask you how you're doing, when people say, how are you?
И когато хората ви попитат как сте,
you can say, I'm overflowing with bliss.
може да кажете, аз съм потопен в блаженство.
Would you like some?
Искаш ли малко?
I can share it with you. I have an ocean of unlimited bliss overflowing from within my heart.
Мога да споделя с теб, аз имам океан от блаженство в своето сърце.
If you feel a little dry, I'll be happy to share some with you.
Ако се чувстваш така недобре, може да се възползваш.
If you like.
Ако искаш.
It's like we do those I love those kirtans here we do in the airport.
Аз много харесвам киртаните на летището.
I've never seen such a joyous kirtan in the airports in my world, traveling around the world, as we have here in Sofia.
Никъде не съм виждал такъв киртан на летището, като тук в София.
It's a very special flavor here in Sofia.
Много е специално.
Kirtan Ras is going strong here in Sofia, Bulgaria. So keep diving deeper and deeper and deeper into this Kirtan Ras. And you will strike that gusher of unlimited nectar within your heart. And you'll be able to track the whole world of the holy names. So I can ask now if there's any questions.
Is it wrong the conception to love God as a father?
Is it
wrong?
No, why? Krishna says that he is the seed-giving father. Sarvayanishu Kanteya Jagadavyata Murtina. He says, I am the seed-giving father of all living beings. So why not love him? He's father, he is father.
Защото е грешно. Кришна казва, аз съм бащата, който дава семето. И защо това да е погрешно? Той е нашия баща.
Next question.
Следващия въпрос.
Нашата приешка Бадришо, нити Бхагават Севая, Бхагават Утамаш Буке, Бхакти Найштики, Бхагавати Найштики. Тада Раджаста Мобава, Хама Обада Яще. Този процес, ако може Санкаршана Прабhu, чрез слушането, защото възпяването и говори по отношението на възпяването. Ми е интересно някакви неща във връзка с слушането, които също вършат същото това пречистване. Тогава Тадараджа, Тамо Бала. Добре ли сега?
Narada Muni Prabhu asks to share something about Shravanam, the listening, and this process. He quoted that verse.
Как изчезва поход, хама, лома, крада.
How
чрез слушането.
This last wrath and other things, how they disappeared by listening.
How does one but disappear? Lust?
Lust, anger, and so on.
Yes, by hearing. Everything comes.
Да, с слушането всичко идва от слушането.
As soon as you develop a taste for hearing about Krishna, that taste will exceed any other taste of this material existence.
Когато развиете вкус да слушате Кришна, този вкус ще погълне всички, ще замени всички останали вкусове.
Parikshit sat for 7 days non-stop. He didn't even go to the bathroom. He just sat there. He was so ecstatic. For 7 days straight, he just sat there and heard with no interruption. So, and he was in complete bliss, in total ecstasy. Even though his death was coming, he didn't care. Because he was situated in pure deathlessness. By absorbing himself completely in Krishna Katha. In other words, he completely transcended his material body. By hearing, you can enter into Goloka Vrindavan. Even in your present body. You can be sitting here in your present body, and just by hearing, you can enter Goloka Vrindavan. Just imagine if you're sitting here in Sofia and you're hearing a Bhagavad Gita lecture. And you're so absorbed in it, you become completely purified. And you're amazed, you look around and you actually see that you're in Vrindavan forest. With the cowherd boys and the cowherd girls hearing about Krishna and talking about Krishna. That's possible by pure hearing. You see?
What is this pure hearing? Pure listening. What is this?
Pure?
Pure listening.
Pure hearing.
Yeah, hearing.
That means that free of any mental speculation or fruitive activities. No karma, no jnana, no yoga. You have no desire for mystic powers. No desire for material fruitive activities. And no desires for mental speculation. This is what Prabhupada told me. He says, no karma, no jnana, no yoga, all material desires, zero. That's pure hearing, you see. But what if you have so many desires for karma, jnana, and yoga, and you're trying to hear anyway? Well, the answer is just go on hearing, go on hearing, go on hearing. That hearing process will wash away our karma, jnana, and yoga. It takes time. You got to go on hearing. Then when you get up from hearing, don't break the principles, you see. Strictly avoid illicit sex, meeting, intoxication, and gambling. And keep that hearing going by chanting at least 16 rounds every day. And whenever there's an opportunity to hear about Krishna or to talk about Krishna, jump for it, go for it. And by this process, you will become a pure devotee, Shuddha Bhakta. By this hearing, your eyes will become anointed with the salve of love of God, Premanjana.
стигнете до...
And you will see the transcendental form of Krishna everywhere, within and without.
И ще виждате трансценденталната форма на Кришна навсякъде.
Shama Sundara.
Шяма Сундара.
Not the four-armed Vishnu, but you'll see Shama Sundara.
Не е четирития Вишну,
Everybody.
Шяма Сундара.
Instead of saying this, the four-armed Vishnu within your heart, the Shiradakashai Vishnu, you'll see Shama Sundara.
Вместо да виждате Шяма Вишну в своето сърце, виждате Шяма Сундара.
You just got to keep hearing.
Просто продължавайте.
That's all you have to do. For those persons who are repeating the parampara message as it's coming down as it is, evam parampara praptam emam rajarshayo vidu.
Просто слушайте това послание, което идва чрез парампара.
Any other questions?
Други въпроси?
Повечето от децата на преданно дадените не спазват принципа за ненасилие, т.е. в една или друга степен са хранени с месо поради общуването с недобронамерени хора, например лоши роднини и така нататък. Някои деца ходят на детска градина. Кой носи последствията за тези дейности, за това не спазване?
Most of the children of devotees, they do not follow the principle of ahimsa because of bad association. Sometimes they may take meat because of bad people, and who takes the responsibility for their actions.
The parents get a reaction.
Родителите,
The sinful activities of the children. Yeah.
те поемат реакциите на тези дейности на децата.
So train them well.
Така че добре ги обучете.
Yeah.
Отговор на предишния въпрос на Нарада Мани Прабу, искам да питам как е възможно да се получи човек да може да реализира другата форма на Кришна, при положение, че преданно извършва Вайди Бхакти. Това е правила и садана според правилата и предписанията. Се знае, че когато човек извършва такава практика, той отива на Вайкунта планетата. Другата форма на Кришна, това е Рагамага Бхакти, която се извършва спонтанна преданост.
Regarding the answer you gave to the question of Narada Muni Prabhu, how can a devotee realize this two-armed form of Krishna as Shama Sundara? Because a devotee follows Vaidhi Bhakti process, and it is known that by Vaidhi Bhakti process one can reach to Vaikuntha planets, and only in Raga Nuga Bhakti one can reach Golok.
Well, it's described by Lord Brahma in the Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, text 38.
Това се обяснява Бог Брахма в...
You're also very familiar with that verse. Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilachini. Yang Shama Shundram Yuganasva Rupam. So we know it's a fact that that means by hearing one will come beyond the Vaidhi Bhakti platform and come all the way to Raganuga. That's what it means.
Чрез слушане човек може да трансцендира Vaidhi Bhakti и да достигне Raganuga Bhakti.
Hearing will take you all the way.
Слушането ще ви прикара.
Because by that hearing process, when that transcendental vibration enters the ears and then it's transformed into premanjana, the ointment of love of God.
Защото чрез слушането звука влиза в ухото и сърцето той се трансформира в преманжана.
Vaidhi Bhakti is simply a step on the way to the ultimate perfection.
Vaidhi Bhakti е само стъпка по пътя към крайно съвършенство.
Prabhupada describes in his purport here in the Bhagavad Gita that by this process of hearing and chanting, the spiritual master, you see, he plants the seed of bhakti in the heart of the disciple.
Прабхупада обяснява в коментара, че чрез този процес на слушане и възпяване, духовният учител посажда семето на любовта към Бога в сърцето.
And by regularly hearing and chanting, that seed becomes a seedling, which then travels throughout the entire universe and breaks through the coverings of the material universe.
И при постоянно слушане и възпяване, това семен се покълва и става растение, което преминава през обивките на материалната вселена.
It enters the Vaikuntha realm where Vishnu is supreme.
И стига Вайкунта планетите, където Вишну е върховният.
But by that continued process of hearing and chanting, then it continues, it doesn't stop there in Vishnu Loka.
Но когато продължим процеса на слушане и възпяване, то не стига до там.
It travels across the vast spiritual sky as well, the creeper.
Пътува през огромното духовно небе.
And it wraps itself around the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna.
И се обвива около лотосовите стъпала на Бог Кришна.
And then when it reaches the lotus feet of Radha Krishna, then the full-blown fruit of love of God becomes manifest from that creeper.
И когато стигне лотосовите нозе на Рада и Кришна, плодът на любовта към Бога, той се проявява.
So the full perfection will come.
Така че пълното съвършенство.
By that chanting, one eventually qualifies himself to be trained up by a Brijabasi and their rasa.
Чрез възпяването човек става квалифициран да бъде обучаван от Бrijabasi.
This chanting process brings everything.
Този процес на възпяване всичко.
Lord Chaitanya was on the highest level of Raganuga, Mahabhav.
Бог Чайтания е бил в най-висшата степен на Рагануга.
And what was his technique?
И каква е била неговата?
Chanting Hare Krishna.
Просто възпявал Харе Кришна.
His mood was Vipalamba.
Неговото настроение е било Випаламба.
He showed that this mood of separation was a higher ecstasy than the mood of meeting Krishna.
Той показва, че това настроение на раздяла е най-върховното настроение.
Goswamis also showed that mood.
Също настроение показват и Госвамите.
Some Vaishnavas say no, meeting is more ecstatic than separation.
Някои вайшнави казват, не, същата е по-екстатично от раздялата.
But that's not the version coming down from our acharyas.
Но това не е версията, която идва от нашите ачари.
We disagree with those Vaishnavas who say that meeting is more sweet than separation.
Ние не се съгласяваме с тези вайшнави, които казват, че срещата
Meeting enhances the pleasure of separation. Meeting enhances the pleasure of separation.
Срещата увеличава от раздялата.
Because when you meet your beloved and are separated, then the loving becomes more intense.
Защото когато срещнете своя възлюбен и се разделите, любовта става по...
Narada Muni had that meeting, you see, briefly. And then he was plunged into separation.
Нарада Муни имал кратка среща и след това е бил в настроение на раздял.
Even in this material world, isn't love in separation more intense than love in meeting?
Дори в този материален свят не е ли любовта в раздяла по-интенсивна от любовта при среща?
When the boyfriend and the girlfriend meet, then they're so joyous. They're expressing so much love for each other in their meeting, isn't it?
Когато момче и момиче срещат, те изпитват голяма любов един към друг.
But when they're separated, they're writing love letters.
Но когато се разделят, си пишат любовни писма.
It's much more intense than what they ever said face to face.
И те са много по-интензивни от това, което са си казали лице.
Much more intense loving emotions in separation than in meeting. That's a fact. Even in this material world, we can see.
Много по-интензивни настроения на любов. Дори в този материален свят.
And there's so many love songs. I remember growing up, I didn't have Krishna consciousness. I used to listen to I used to spend the whole summer listening to pop songs.
Преди да за присъединение към Кришна знание, аз слушах поп песни.
And they used to always sing about being separated from their lover, you see.
И в тези песни винаги се пееше как се разделили от своя възлюбен.
So when Prabhupada told the Beatles to write Krishna conscious songs, what sort of songs did he say that they should write?
И когато Прабхупад каза на Beatles да пишат
songs of separation from Krishna. Not meeting, separation.
Той им казал да пишат песни за настроение на раздяла с Кришна.
Only one Beatle took up Prabhupada's instruction seriously. Sriman George Harrison.
Само един Beatles приема сериозно инструкцията на Прабхупад, Sriman George Harrison.
Sriman George Harrison ki jai. So he wrote that song, My Sweet Lord. I really want to meet you. I really want to see you. I really want to be with you. But it takes so long, my Lord.
И той написа тази песен, мои скъпи Господи, аз не искам да се видя, аз истина.
Prabhupada loved that song.
Да, слава.
Because George is expressing the intense anguish of being separated from Krishna and wanting to meet him and just knowing, but it takes so long, my Lord. It's a wonderful song, you see. This is the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, you see. So in this way, by this hearing process, we will achieve that highest stage. Raganuga platform, you see. Everything will come, our original rasa with Krishna, everything will come in due course. Swarup Siddhi. He's got to keep chanting those rounds and following the principles, serving Prabhupada's mission, you know. When Lord Chaitanya sees that you are dedicated to serving Prabhupada's mission, he will shower his blessings on you. There is no one more dear to Lord Chaitanya than Srila Prabhupada. So when he sees that you are dedicated to serving Prabhupada's mission, he will shower his blessings like anything. Any other question? Param Jyoti Prabhu.
Аз просто си спомням това, което Прабхупад каза. Работете сега, самади по-късно. Става просто, че ние действаме сега и като че ли не остава много време да мислим, защото виждам той, който проповядва обикновено, той е много силно действа в тая насока. И остава като че ли много време така за взаимоотношения, някакви директни с Кришна повече. Да се оповаваме на това, че по-късно да ще бъде. Кога по-късно?
So, Param Jyoti Prabhu remembers that Prabhupada said, work now and Samadhi will come later.
That's right.
And so,
сега въпрос е да повторя.
Точно как е, може по-кратко да го помогнеш.
So it seems to me that it will take some time, I don't know, because we are pushing programs and preaching programs and other things, so we have not so much time for reading and listening. And when will this day come when Samadhi will come?
Well, engaging in working hard to serve the mission, that is also the bhakti process. Actually, some devotees, they wanted to cheaply imitate the Raganuga bhaktas by just going to chant at Radhakunda and give up doing practical service.
Някои преданани снимат много ефтино процеса, като искат да навлезат в Рага много, като стават на бреговете на Рада Кунта и изпяват и да правят нищо практично.
Srila Prabhupada said he's not living in Radhakund, he's living in Narakund. Narakund means hell.
А Шрила Прабхупад казва, той не живее в Рада Кунта, в Наракунда, което означава ад.
There was another devotee, he was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and so he wanted to just chant, just not do any service and just be a Babaji,
Един предан даден имал диагноза за рак и той не искал да прави никакво служене, просто да възпява.
And Prabhupada facilitated him, he gave him Babaji initiation.
И Прабхупад го улеснил, дал му Бабаджи инициация.
But then it turned out he wasn't going to die after all.
И после се оказало, че той няма да умре.
So he went back to becoming a karmi again.
И той отново станал карми.
So actually we have to be dedicated, unless we're willing to do service, you see, to push forward this movement, we won't be able to hear and chant properly.
Така че освен ако не развиеме настроение да служим на мисията, ние няма да можем правилно да слушаме и да разпяваме.
The willingness to do whatever is required for pushing forward this movement qualifies us to have a taste for hearing.
Това желание да слушаме на мисията ни квалифицира за слушане и възпяване.
So don't shirk the work.
Така че не спестявайте работата.
That I'm just going to chant Hare Krishna and I don't care if the toilet stopped up. Who cares? I'm just going to chant Hare Krishna. By the way, somebody needs to fix the drain in the shower upstairs. It's clogged up with hairs or something. Please fix the drain. It doesn't drain properly. And clean the sink out and fix the drain. See, these practical things have to be done. In Mayapur, there was, they had some toilets near the, over near the kitchen area. There's some public toilets. And the Bengalis, the Bengali villagers who were working there for our project, they were using those toilets. But they weren't used to modern toilets. They didn't know how to flush them or anything. So it became just a horrible, disgusting place. And devotees neglected it. There was stool in here and everywhere. It was horrible. Of course, then Prabhupada, when his morning walk, Prabhupada sees everything. Nothing escapes Prabhupada. He wanted to know why it wasn't clean. And they said, well, Prabhupada, devotees, it's the japa period now. Devotees are chanting their japa. That didn't satisfy Prabhupada. He said, in the plea of japa, they were remaining dirty, you see, in the plea of japa. And then the lecture, we had very strong chastisement in the Bhagavatam class that morning. He said, if you see something is dirty and you don't correct it, then you're also dirty. So we have to do this practical work of cleaning the temple and all the other projects, you see. And if we allow things to remain filthy and dirty, then that is our filth and dirt in the heart. And we won't be able to relish the holy name in that condition for very long. We'll chant for a few minutes and then we'll get bored with the chanting, you see. But if you want to be able to chant 24 hours a day, then you have to be willing to serve the name, whatever is required. Cooking, cleaning, making money
правите пари
for Krishna,
за Кришна,
spending money for Krishna,
да харчите пари за Кришна,
decorating the deities,
да
polishing the deities,
се грижите за божествата,
all the activities of bhakti,
всички дейности на бхакти,
sewing outfits for the deities, printing books.
да печатате книги.
They should have the goal that every book of Prabhupada should be printed in Bulgarian language, and there should be distribution, wide-scale distribution of Prabhupada's books all throughout Bulgaria going on.
Всяка книга на Прабхупада трябва да бъде преведена на български и да бъде разпространена.
So we have a lot of work to do to bring this yatra, Bulgarian yatra, to this standard.
Така че имаме много работа в тази българска ятра.
So this work can't be neglected in the name of chanting.
Тази работа не може да бъде пренебрегната в името на възпитание.
Forget book distribution. We're just going to have kirtan.
Забравете за разпространението ни, просто ще правим kirtan.
This book distribution means the greater kirtan. Translating books, public printing the books, distributing the book.
Разпространението на книгите, това е по-голям киртан.
When Prabhupada would come to the temple, he would have one question: how's the book distribution going on? That's all he cared about. Sometimes. Of course, in other times he would take care of every little thing going on. But sometimes he would only ask, how many books are going on? That's all he would have.
Се занимава и с други детайли, но понякога той питал само това как върви разпространението на книгите.
And he would want to see how many devotees are attending Mangalarti. Are they sleeping?
И той искал да разбере колко преданодадени посещават Мангаларти, дали спят.
In Mexico City, the devotees, one morning they were out late preaching the night before, they slept through Mangalarti. Prabhupada was furious.
Веднъж в Мексико ни преданодадени имали непрекъснато проповядване и след това се спали за Мангаларти и Прабхупад бил много ядосен.
So the inmates of the ashram, they should all be up for Mangalarti every day.
Така че тези, които живеят в храма, трябва да стават за Мангаларти.
And everybody at home also should rise early and have arti at home.
И всички, които живеят вкъщи, в храмата, ще трябва да
стават. So these practical works should be going on, you see.
Тази практична дейност трябва да се прави.
And Prabhupada gave us, you see, this work that has to be done.
Прабхупада ни даде много работа да се прави.
So any other questions?
Какво да направим хората, които са около нас, хората, които влизаме в контакт, да бъдат удовлетворени от Кришна съзнание, въпреки привързаността, отвращението, материалните страданията са много, няма да ги зареждам всичките. Защото единствено, когато сме удовлетворени, интелигентността укрепва и тогава може да се говори за буди йога, бхакти йога. Какво да направим, че хората, с които общуваме, хората, които влизаме в контакт, да бъдат удовлетворени от Кришна съзнание?
What can we do so that the people we came into contact will be satisfied by Krishna consciousness?
Satisfied by Krishna, what is it?
How can we make so that the people we came into contact with will be satisfied by Krishna?
How you can attract them to Krishna consciousness?
Yes,
deep?
how can they be satisfied?
When you how you get the non-devotees satisfied with Krishna consciousness? You have to be satisfied.
Ти също трябва да бъдеш удовлетворен.
You must be satisfied with Krishna consciousness.
Ти трябва да бъдеш удовлетворен от Кришна съзнание.
You have to be an acharya.
Трябва да бъдеш acharya.
If you're relishing unlimited nectar and chanting,
ако усещаш безграничен нектар при възпяване,
I guarantee you, you'll be able to attract so many people to the chanting.
Аз ти гарантирам, че ти ще можеш да привлечеш толкова много хора да възпяват.
So you have to dive into the nectar.
Трябва да се потопиш в нектара.
Go deep, deep, deep into Namaras.
Влез дълбоко в Намарас.
Then you can attract so many people to Krishna consciousness naturally, just like a magnet.
Тогава ти ще можеш да привлечеш много хора към Кришна съзнание, като магнит, естествено.
Next question.
Следващия въпрос.
чувал съм, че проявленията на Джаганат, Баладев и Субадра са също в настроението на Кришна, раздяла с гопите обаче. Ние, понеже Санкаршана Прабу говори за това, че ние трябва да стремим към това чувство на раздялата на Кришна. И любопитно ми е дали всъщност Кришна изпитва нектар от това чувство на раздяла със своите предани.
I've heard that
Джаганат Прабу.
He, Narada Muni Prabhu, heard that Lord Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra Devi, they are also in mood of separation with the gopis. So
I've heard that also. Krishna, in the mood of separation, is manifesting this bodily. This is the form of Krishna in a mood of extreme ecstasy. Krishna is a state of stunned wonderment. Stunned wonderment. Got a good translation? Stunned wonderment? Extremely awed. Totally, completely amazed. Dumbfounded is another word for it. English is really loaded with words. It's the most verbose language. They take words from every language, you see. They make this big, gigantic language. But English is so many words. But he's in it. There's some pastime where they were. Vishnu Priyamanaji knows the story. Who was listening first? Subhadra.
Rohini was describing to Devaki.
Who was reciting? Rohini was telling Braj Leela to Devaki. And who was listening in?
And Devaki was listening.
Who was sneaking in of the three?
Lord Krishna.
Krishna was listening. He was listening, hearing through the door, listening into this story. He was in Dwarka, hearing about Vraj Leela. Rohini, who had been in Vraj Leela, was telling Devaki all about Vraj Leela. And Krishna was hearing this, and he just went in complete ecstasy. His limbs shrunk within his body, and he was just in complete, total ecstasy, hearing these pastimes. And then Balaram and Subhadra came along, and they saw Krishna like this, and they also heard, and they also went in a state of ecstasy. So yes, it is. They are in complete ecstasy to hear Vraj Leela. Yes.
Рухини разказала на Деваки за тази Враджа Лила и Кришна слушал през вратата. И когато чу, той е бил напълно вцепенен. И след това дошли Баладев и Баладеви, те също се вцепенили. Това е бил пълен екстаз.
And do you know the esoteric meaning of Ratha Yatra?
Знаете ли езотеричното значение на Ratha Yatra?
Externally, it's ecstatic singing and dancing and feasting festival in the streets.
Външно това е един фестивал на танцуване и на приемане.
But do you know the internal meaning of Ratha Yatra?
Вътрешното значение.
So just imagine this. Here's the whole scene. Just imagine this pastime. Krishna is in Dwarka. With Balaram, Subhadra, they're all in Dwarka. You see. But who's left behind in Vrindavan? The Brijavasis, the gopis especially.
Krishna с Баларам и Субадеви е в Дварака.
They're completely devastated by Krishna's separation. But then, on the occasion of a solar eclipse,
слънчево затъмнение.
The Brajavasis and the Dwarkavasis came together at Kurukshetra.
Браджабасите отишли на Курукшетра.
And the gopis are seeing Krishna. They're looking at this Krishna, this Prince Krishna.
И гопите гледали Кришна, гледали този принц.
They're saying, well, this is Krishna, but this is not our Krishna.
И ти казали, това е Кришна, това не е нашия Кришна.
We want Krishna back in Vrindavan.
Ние искаме Кришна обратно в Вриндаван.
So, especially Radharani desired to have Krishna back at Vrindavan. She wasn't satisfied to see him in Kurukshetra Krishna.
И особено Радharani желал да види Кришна обратно в Вриндаван.
So this Ratha Yatra is what was going on in the gopis' hearts. They were pulling Krishna and Balaram and Subhadra back to Vrindavan. In their hearts, they were pulling him back.
И в своите сърца гопите теглили Кришна обратно в Вриндаван.
So when you pull the car on the Ratha Yatra, you can think, oh, Radharani is in great pain in Krishna's separation. Let me bring Lord Krishna back to Radharani. In this mood, you pull the car.
И когато теглите колесницата, може да бъдете в това настроение. Радharani иска Кришна.
Let us bring Krishna, Balaram, and Subhadra back to Braj, you see, so the Brajavasis can regain their lives. Now they are dead. They're worse than dead.
Нека върнем обратно Jagannath Baladev и Subhaladev.
By this Ratha Yatra, we can revive the Brajavasis from their death-like state.
И с тази Ratha Yatra може да съживим Браджабасите.
We can bring Krishna, Balaram, and Subhadra back to them so they can once again have the Vraj Lila, you see.
Можем да върнем Кришна, Баладев и Субаладев и обратно в Врач. Те отново да имат тази Врач Лила.
So in this one, I don't know if Subhadra is part of Vraj Lila. Maybe not, but she comes along for the ride with her brothers. So I think we can stop here. That's a nice place to stop. Bringing Krishna back to Vrindavan to relieve Radharani of her intense anguish, worse than death anguish. Raja Vaja Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.